Kiwi English Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. This is your cozy corner for natural English practice and real-life conversations. I'm Jayden.
And I'm Aria. We are so happy to have you here with us today.
Hi! Kiwi here, ready to help you learn English.
Now, before we jump into today's topic, we have one tiny favor to ask. If you enjoy listening to us, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps other English learners find us.
Exactly. And we would also love it if you left a comment down below. It can be super simple. Just tell us where you're listening from or share your thoughts on today's topic.
Don't worry about mistakes. Even one sentence is awesome.
And you know what? Typing a comment is actually a great way to practice your English without even realizing it. Your brain is working, choosing vocabulary, putting words in order. It is real practice.
That is so true. So please, don't be nervous about making mistakes. Even just one short sentence is totally fine. We genuinely love reading your thoughts.
Yes, small steps, big progress. You can do it.
All right, are you ready? Let's get right into today's topic.
Welcome to Kiwi English Podcast. Today, we are learning how to keep a conversation going. Small questions can lead to real connection.
Have you ever had a conversation that died after 10 seconds?
Oh yes, it starts with good energy, and then suddenly, silence.
Exactly. Someone asks you, "How was your weekend?" You say, "Good." Then they say, "Nice." And then both of you just stand there.
That kind of silence feels so loud.
It really does. And I think this happens a lot to English learners, not because they have nothing to say, but because they do not know how to keep the conversation moving.
Right. Starting a conversation is hard, but keeping it going can be even harder.
Yes, you might know basic answers, but after you answer, you do not know what to add.
So today we are talking about how to keep a conversation going in English,
Not by speaking perfectly.
and not by asking deep questions immediately.
Exactly. Just simple, natural ways to continue a conversation without panic.
Let us start with a real scene.
Okay, imagine you're at work on Monday morning. You walk into the break room. Your coworker is making coffee. They smile and ask, "How was your weekend?"
Classic small talk.
Very classic. You answer, "Good."
And then the conversation is almost finished.
Exactly. Good is not wrong, but it gives the other person nothing to respond to.
It is like closing a door.
Yes, a better answer would be, "It was good. I finally had time to relax." What about yours?
That is much better.
Because now you did 3 things. You answered, you added one detail, and you asked the question back.
Answer, detail, question.
Exactly. That is one of the most useful patterns for keeping a conversation going.
Let us give more examples.
If someone asks, "How was your weekend?" you can say, "It was nice. I went for a walk because the weather was beautiful. How about you?"
Or, it was quiet. I stayed home and watched a movie. What did you do?
Or, "It was busy. I had to run a lot of errands, but I feel better now. How was yours?"
These answers are still simple, but they give the conversation more life.
Exactly. You do not need a long story. You just need one small detail.
Useful pattern. Answer, detail, question. Try it slowly.
That pattern is simple, but very powerful.
Yes, many learners only answer. But conversation is like passing a ball. If someone throws the ball to you, you should not just hold it.
You need to send it back.
Exactly. Asking a question back is sending the ball back.
Let us talk about follow-up questions.
Very important.
A follow-up question is a question based on what the other person just said.
Yes, it shows that you're listening.
For example, someone says, "I went hiking this weekend."
A weak response is, "Oh, nice."
Not wrong, but short.
A better response is, "Oh, nice. Where did you go?"
Or was the trail difficult?
Or, uh, "Do you go hiking often?"
Now the conversation continues.
Exactly. Follow-up questions are one of the easiest ways to keep a conversation alive.
And they do not need to be complicated.
No, you can use simple question words. Where, when, why, how, what kind,
Where did you go?
how was it,
What kind of food did you try?
why did you choose that place?
Do you do that often?
Very natural.
Let us create a scene. You meet someone at a class. They say, I started this class last month.
You can ask, "How do you like it so far?"
Great question.
Or, "What made you decide to join?"
That is a little deeper, but still natural.
Yes, it invites a small story.
And stories keep conversations going.
Exactly. If you only ask yes or no questions, the conversation may stop quickly.
Like, do you like this class?
They can answer yes, and then silence.
But if you ask, what do you like about it? They need to say more.
Right. Open questions help.
Open questions usually start with what, how, why, where, or when.
Yes. But be careful with why. Sometimes why can sound too direct.
Good point.
Instead of saying, "Why are you here?" you can say, "What made you decide to come?"
That sounds much softer.
Exactly. Instead of saying, "Why do you like that?" you can say, "What do you like about it?"
Much more natural.
Soft question. What made you decide to come? It sounds friendly.
Let us talk about the biggest conversation killer.
One-word answers.
Yes. Good. Fine. Yes. No. Maybe. Sometimes they are enough, but if you use them all the time, conversation becomes hard.
Because the other person has to do all the work.
Exactly. If someone asks, "Do you like living here?" and you only say yes, they have to think of another question.
But if you say, yes, I like it, it is quiet, and there are many good places to walk, now they can respond,
Yes. Add a reason. That is another useful pattern.
answer plus reason.
For example, "Do you like your job?"
Yes, I do. I like talking to different people every day.
"Do you like cooking?"
Yes, I do. It helps me relax after work.
"Do you like winter?"
Not really. It is beautiful. But I do not like driving in snow.
That answer is more interesting than just no.
Because it gives a reason.
Exactly.
Let us talk about showing interest.
Good idea. Keeping a conversation going is not only about asking questions, it is also about showing that you care.
What are some natural reaction phrases?
You can say, "Really?"
Simple.
Or, "That sounds fun."
That sounds hard.
"That sounds stressful."
That is interesting.
"I did not know that."
No way.
Be careful with "no way." It is casual, but very natural when you're surprised.
For example, someone says, I used to live in Japan.
You can say, "No way. How long did you live there?"
That reaction plus follow-up question keeps the conversation going.
Exactly. Reaction plus question?
So we have answer, detail, question. We also have reaction plus question.
Yes. If someone tells you something, react first, then ask more.
Let us do examples.
Someone says, "I got a new job."
That is amazing. When do you start?
Someone says, "I had a really busy weekend."
That sounds tiring. What did you have to do?
Someone says, "I am learning Spanish."
That is cool. How long have you been learning?
Someone says, "I made pasta from scratch."
That sounds delicious. Was it difficult?
Perfect. These are small but natural.
Let us talk about sharing your own small story.
Yes, conversation should not feel like an interview.
If you only ask questions, the other person may feel like they are being questioned by the police.
Exactly. You need to share a little too.
So after someone answers, add something about yourself.
For example, someone says, I like hiking.
You can say, I have not gone hiking in a while, but I love walking in parks.
Good. Then ask, do you have a favorite trail?
That feels like a real exchange.
Yes. You connect their topic to your experience.
Let us create a scene. You are at a party. Someone says they enjoy cooking.
You can say, I like cooking too, but I usually make simple meals. What do you like to cook?
Perfect.
If you do not cook, you can still say, I am not a great cook, but I love trying new food. What is your favorite thing to make?
That is very natural.
You do not have to have the same hobby to continue the conversation.
You just need to connect to it in some way.
Conversation tip. Share a little, then ask a little.
That is a good balance.
Yes, if you share too much, it becomes a speech. If you ask too much, it becomes an interview.
Share a little, ask a little.
Exactly.
Let us talk about when you do not know the topic.
This happens all the time.
Someone starts talking about something you do not understand. Sports, cars, finance, a TV show, a hobby, anything.
Your first instinct might be to panic or pretend,
Or say, I do not know.
but you can keep the conversation going by being curious.
What can you say?
You can say, I do not know much about that, but it sounds interesting.
Good.
Or, I am not very familiar with that. Can you explain it simply?
That is a very useful phrase.
Yes. It makes the other person feel like they can teach you.
And many people enjoy explaining things they like.
Exactly. If someone loves photography and you say, I do not know much about cameras, what makes a camera good? They may become excited.
Because now they can share their knowledge.
Yes. Not knowing something does not have to end the conversation.
It can become the beginning of a conversation.
Exactly.
Let us do a real example. Someone says, I went rock climbing yesterday.
If you know nothing about rock climbing, you can say, I have never tried that. Is it difficult?
Very simple.
Or, that sounds fun. How did you get into it?
Now they can tell a story.
Yes. How did you get into it is one of the best questions for hobbies.
Because it asks for the beginning story.
Exactly.
Let us talk about awkward pauses.
Ah, the silence.
Many learners are afraid of silence.
Yes, but a short pause is normal.
It does not mean the conversation failed.
Exactly. People pause to think. People drink coffee. People look around. It is okay.
But if you want to restart the conversation, what can you say?
You can use a simple bridge phrase.
What is a bridge phrase?
A phrase that moves the conversation to a new topic.
Give examples.
By the way, how was your weekend?
That is useful.
Speaking of work, how is your new project going?
Good one.
That reminds me, have you tried the new cafe nearby?
Very natural.
Or simply, anyway, what are you doing later?
Bridge phrases help you change topics without feeling strange.
Yes, they are very useful when the first topic is finished.
Bridge phrase. By the way, how was your weekend?
Let us talk about ending a conversation politely.
Good. Because keeping a conversation going does not mean it must last forever.
Sometimes a conversation has a natural end.
Exactly. And it is better to end warmly than to force it.
What can we say?
It was nice talking to you.
Simple and polite.
Or, I should get going, but it was great chatting with you.
Very natural.
Or, I will see you around.
Good for neighbors, co-workers, classmates.
Yes. If you want to keep the connection open, say, maybe we can talk more next time.
That sounds friendly.
Or, let us catch up again soon.
Good phrase.
Ending well matters because it makes the next conversation easier.
That is true. If you end warmly, next time you can talk again.
Exactly.
Let us create a full sample conversation.
Okay. Let us say we are two coworkers in the break room.
I will start, "Hey, Aria, how was your weekend?"
It was pretty good. I finally had time to clean my apartment and watch a movie. What about yours?
Mine was nice too. I went to a small Italian restaurant with my friend.
That sounds fun. Was the food good?
Yes, it was great. I had pasta, and the sauce was really good.
Nice. I love Italian food, but I do not cook it very often. Do you like cooking?
I do, but I usually make simple things. I'm trying to get better, though.
Same here. I like cooking, but only when I have enough time.
That makes sense. Weekdays are too busy.
Exactly. By the way, did you hear about the team lunch on Friday?
Yes, I think we are going to that new place nearby.
Oh, nice. I have been wanting to try it.
Me too. Anyway, I should get back to work, but it was nice talking to you.
You too. See you later.
That was a very normal conversation.
Yes, and it worked because we used small details, follow-up questions, reactions, and a bridge phrase.
And it did not feel like a lesson. It felt like real life.
Exactly. That is the goal.
Let us review the main tools.
First, use answer, detail, question.
It was good. I went for a walk. How about you?
Second, ask follow-up questions.
Where did you go? How was it? Do you do that often?
Third, use reaction plus question.
That sounds fun. How did you get into it?
Fourth, share a little about yourself.
I have not tried that, but I would like to.
Fifth, use bridge phrases when you want to change topics.
By the way, speaking of that, that reminds me.
Sixth, end politely when the conversation is finished.
It was nice talking to you. I should get going. See you around.
These tools are simple, but they can make your English conversations feel much smoother.
And they help you feel less stuck.
Yes, because sometimes you do not need more advanced English, you just need a way to continue.
That is very important. Fluency is not only about grammar, it is also about flow.
Exactly. Conversation flow.
And flow comes from small habits.
Answer with a detail.
Ask one more question.
React naturally.
Share a small story.
Then pass the conversation back.
Kiwi's tip. Do not stop at one-word answers. Add a detail. Then ask a question.
That is the perfect tip for today.
Yes, small details keep conversations alive.
Try this phrase. That sounds interesting. How did you get into it?
And that is all for today's episode of Kiwi English Podcast.
We hope this conversation helped you feel more confident about keeping conversations going in English.
This week, try the pattern answer, detail, question in one real conversation.
And remember, you do not need perfect English to have a good conversation.
You just need curiosity, kindness, and a few useful phrases.
Small question. Real connection. See you next time.